Singapore is such a beautiful city. It's said to be a city within a garden rather than a garden that's in a city. The plants here are amazing. The whole city is clean, green, and just a delight to visit. The transit is fast and efficient. It's a really fun place to go on vacation. This is a city where new modern skyscrapers meet the small buildings that have lined the port since the 1800s, creating a really interesting skyline and also different neighborhoods that are fun to explore. We did meet our friends here, so you might recognize them from a video I made about London. Taylor and Marina flew in from Seattle, and we were delighted to get to spend some time together. This is a huge city. This was my second time here and Jason's first. The first time I was here, I was with my mom, and all I could think was that Jason would love this place. It is such a modern city with the best tech and tech innovations to help make life more comfortable.
They are building more land because they've run out.
They don't have much land at this point and have started to have to make more. The famous Marina Bay Sands land is made out of nothing, and they continue to fill in the bay in order to make more real estate.
This place is cool. Highly recommend. I've been here 30 seconds. Highly recommend it.
For most of this video, I'm going to talk about the big items we visited on this trip, but I do want to give a shout out to the Firefighter Museum. This was one of the smaller attractions, and it was free. It was so much fun. It was not a whole day activity, but the men who were working here were so friendly and gave great information about the current infrastructure. The museum had a ton of old trucks that brought to life the reality of living in such a hugely populated city with great fire risk. It was a unique way to see the history of the city through a specific lens.
The Huffington Fort Jackson Fire Department. Right, you got the big wheel, you got the comfy seats back here.
The Marina Bay Sands is that 3 skyscraper building with the boat on top. It also includes a huge mall, an event space, there's a casino in there. The top of the boat is a paid attraction to visit, so if you go to the back of the boat, there's an observation tower, which is 30 Singapore dollars to visit. The front of the boat is a sky bar, where you can go for free as long as you order a drink or some food. I thought that the bar side was a better value because you're able to sit and enjoy a drink while enjoying the view, whereas the observation tower side is just a big open area with not a lot of seating or really any shade, which was my big problem. However, I was happy to try both so that I could tell the difference, for science. So while we were in the area admiring the view from the top of the Marina Bay Sands, we decided to visit Gardens by the Bay because it's only a short walk between the two. The Gardens by the Bay has several attractions, including a flower dome and the cloud forest, which are the 2 locations that we visited. The flower dome has different subterraneans where you can see what would be common to that climate. Since we were there just after the Chinese New Year, there were several special displays on the ground floor. All of them were very intricate and gorgeous. Super fun to see this. They also offer rotating exhibits and a fine dining restaurant. The Cloud Forest is a plant lover's paradise. On the inside, it's a 5-story structure that is made inside this climate-controlled dome, featuring all of the tropical and subtropical plants of your dreams. It also includes one of the largest indoor waterfalls and unique walkways that make you feel like you're on this treetop adventure through the middle of the jungle. The plants here are just unbelievable. Some of these leaves were as tall as me. Absolutely incredible.
We're in the Cloud Forest, and it's this giant indoor botanical garden, and you walk along all of these paths and things, and you get to see all these gorgeous plants. It's very beautiful. It's a bit expensive to get in, but it is absolutely worth it. And you just see so many plants. I love the plants.
It has a dark opening, so they try to go towards the light, and instead they get stuck and digested.
You start your journey by going to the top of the tower, mountain, structure, and then you wind your way through these paths and plants and waterfall lookouts to see all the joys of the jungles. Just a heads up, Singapore is an expensive city. These 2 attractions together were 32 Singapore dollars. The only thing that's cheap here are the hawker stall foods, and I'll be sure to tell you way more about the tasty food coming up. Also at the Marina Bay Sands Gardens by the Bay area, there are light shows at night. These are free shows both at the Bay and at the Gardens, and we timed it so that we started at the Bay's show. This one was hard to see unless you were right in front, and also the water features did spray the crowd pretty aggressively, so some people walked away drenched. And then we made the 15-minute walk over to see the light shows of the Super Tree Grove from a viewpoint. Both were paired with music and a nice way to end our day with a free event. As I've mentioned before, it feels like every city seems to have their own sort of city ticket. It felt like Singapore's city ticket was the zoo ticket. They have several different zones, events, and much more that you can buy in conjunction. And the more you buy, the bigger the discount you get. We purchased one of the largest bundles because that was the way that we could get to all the things that were on our must-see list, but it came with some extras. We saw so many cool animals. Honestly, I took so much video of animals. I'm no wildlife photographer, so I'll only show you the best ones.
This has just been the coolest experience because you're in the enclosures with the birds, so you get to be up close with them. There is no glass in your way. It's been super fun.
Among my favorites were the open enclosures at the Bird Paradise. The birds live in these huge enclosures where you're able to walk through and you're among them to see the birds up close. Marina had the amazing insight to go right when they opened, and it was absolutely worth it. Since the birds had just been fed or were being fed, they were so active. And I thought this would just be one enclosure, but it turns out almost everything was this sort of outdoor enclosure thing where you were able to walk through different zones with separating doors to see different species from different climates and continents.
This portion has these treetop walks, so you can get up into the trees to see the birds. Each area has been designed differently based on what birds are inside it.
I'm not ashamed to admit, though, that another favorite thing here was the bao bun that I got. It was penguin shaped. It was super tasty, and I was delighted by it. The Splash Safari show at the Singapore Zoo was another favorite of mine because it was just so fun. I loved watching the sea lions show off for a good treat, just like a cute little ocean dog. All of the zoo sections are part of the conservation efforts and support wildlife. They are part of the Mandai Wildlife Reserve, and a portion of all revenue is committed to conservation projects both in Singapore and Southeast Asia. With this goes a lot of education on wildlife and the human interaction with the wild. It was built into every experience throughout. In addition to the shows, there were guides who walked around and gave information about each of the exhibits. There was so much information to take in here that honestly I don't think you could get it all. There's too much. And so doing these on different days was really awesome because it allowed us to come in fresh each day for each different experience. So we did the birds one day, the zoo another day, and the night safari another day. The River Wonders was one of the sections that we didn't actually have on our must-do list, and because our expectations were low that we may not even make it here, we were completely blown away. We got to see pandas, manatees, otters, and then, my favorite, we got to take a river ride. This was all included with our ticket. We took about an hour here, and it was really nice not to feel like we had to get the most out of our visit because it basically had been free anyways.
We're doing the Amazon River Quest.
Yep, we're doing it. We're on a boat.
Boat ride.
Flores, and welcome to Amazon River Quest. The Amazon River Basin is an amazing place full of life.
This was a fun activity because we got to sit while we saw all the different animals. However, we did make it here in the afternoon, so a lot of the animals were inactive, taking naps, just resting. Which is also what we were doing. It was nice to be off our feet for a little bit.
We got ice cream sandwiches.
Yep, just like it says.
Singapore is hot year-round. So in this hot, humid weather, of course, we stopped for ice cream sandwiches. And it delighted me to no end that these were truly ice cream sandwiches where ice cream's wrapped in bread.
But is it going to be good, though? Probably.
I mean, you did get Tutti Frutti, so no.
Mm-hmm. And the bread is different colors.
So,
Why?
it's not going to be good.
It's pretty good.
What is, yeah.
It's a lot of bread. But the ice cream is actually very flavorful. Like more than I expected.
I got yam flavor.
Yam is a pretty cool flavor.
It was good.
Right? A little savory, a little... yeah.
Another must-see was the night safari. This is a really cool initiative from Mandai Wildlife. Since so many of the animals here are active at night, it gives visitors the chance to see animals in a different way. There is a walk through the jungle and then a trolley ride. We did the walk first because we heard that the lines for the trolley got a little out of hand. Like I said, I'm no professional videographer, and nighttime makes it even harder, but we were able to see so many animals playing and moving in a way that had never been possible in the daytime. By the time we were ready to take the trolley, there was no line whatsoever, and we hopped right on. It did have a nice audio guide that told you more about the conservation efforts and the animals that you were seeing.
Patriarch of Night Safari is Jamila. Asian elephants in the wild also face the ever-present threat of conflict with humans.
The animals definitely were super active while we were here. Almost everything was moving around, and so it was fun to see the active animals rather than napping animals.
Good morning from Singapore. I went for a run this morning. This is because my jet lag does not let me sleep in. It's so frustrating. And I think the worst part about that is that Singapore has a pretty robust nightlife. People eat late, people are in the streets, there are light shows, there's lots of things to do at night. Like last night, we went to the night safari. And we didn't get home until after 11. And then my body's just like, nah, you gotta get up. So this morning I went for a run. Went to one of the only places open, got myself a treat, and then we'll get our day started.
Sentosa Island is the island with a lot of the tourist attractions off the main island of Singapore. Here you will find Universal Studios and Madame Tussauds, but we came for some other attractions. We took the cable car over because it is such a beautiful ride. However, the climb up to the cable car had me sweating so bad. It is very hot and humid here, and I am just not used to it. When purchasing our ticket, we were informed that there is also a cable car along the island, which is only a few dollars more. So we went ahead and added that on, and it saved us a bunch of walking. We started out by seeing the island from the sky and went to the easternmost point. From there, we made our way to the middle of the island to use our timed entry for our luge tickets. This location has 4 different runs and then a ski lift to bring you back up. It was so much fun. It's a little bit like go-karts, but instead of it being powered, it is simply down a hill, so it's sleds on steroids. We did this for maybe an hour and a half to do our 4 runs. On the way down, we would race each other and go as fast as we can and try out all the different routes. And then on the way up, we would talk about what happened and what kid cut in front of us. This was such a lighthearted and fun activity. I had an absolute blast. I would highly recommend doing this. We had so much fun. And to end our day, we caught one more light show. I have to say, this was the best show of the 3. However, it was the only one that wasn't free. So I think that's fair. I think it worked out well for us, and I would recommend coming to this show if you're coming to Sentosa Island anyway. If I had to list my number 1 reason to visit Singapore, it would be this. It's hawker centers. There are so many of them, and they are all so diverse. They are a development of street food containing multiple stalls, offering a variety of affordable meals. At least one hawker stall in Singapore has a Michelin star rating. They often have open-air seating, which is amazing for groups, because then you don't all have to agree on what we're going to eat, and all dietary restrictions can be followed easily. Additionally, Singapore is quite strict on the health code of these stalls, to the same standards as restaurants, and therefore this street food is something safe for those of us visiting from the West.
These dumplings are so good.
Singapore also has a very high fine dining culture that you can see in movies like Crazy Rich Asians, but it also has incredibly affordable street food in its countless hawker stalls. Each one offers a different vibe and different food, so I would suggest trying them all until you find your personal favorite.
We are at the Art Science Museum, and this is just the entrance, and it's so incredibly peaceful here. It's just such a beautiful place. We have an amazing view of downtown and all these lily pads and beautiful flowers. It's just so nice.
The Art Science Center was a fun and playful experience. However, Taylor and Marina had already done this experience in Japan, and they found it to be incredibly similar. As someone who's never done anything like this, I found it novel. Jason and I colored some sea creatures that were then released into our surroundings, and we were able to interact with them there.
Oh, mine's running away from yours. Oh! I know, you're chasing me down.
They also had cool other light initiatives, like this colorful climbing bridge that was super trippy.
That's very trippy.
And then a sea of lights that you got to walk through and could manipulate with your phone. Be sure to come playful because this is a whimsical experience. In the sea of skyscrapers that is Singapore, we couldn't leave until we found an observation tower. This was a great activity for our final day, and we found one that spanned 4 different buildings. This is the largest public housing project in the world, and residents have access to this amazing rooftop garden for free. Us tourists pay something like $4 Singapore dollars, which is super cheap compared to other prices in Singapore. And it has true 360 views from all around as you go between each building, and you're able to see a different view of the city. It really is such an expansive city that has so much to offer. I love visiting Singapore and will gladly come back when you invite me for your visit. These trips always go so fast. The last stop, Changi Airport, to check out the iconic indoor waterfall and to fly home.